Renovating the shop is such a huge task. We couldn't really figure out the best way to do it, which would be to take everything out of here and then bring stuff back, but we don't have any place to do that. And now I'm going to start emptying out all these cabinets and everything off this wall and get ready for a big yard sale. So like what I'm doing today, this area here, parts cabinet, I had tons of stuff piled up here. Everything's got to go, this cabinet's going. So I'm bringing everything over. The stuff that I know I want to keep, like some of it's no-brainer, like this. These are my number and letter stamp sets. These things I know I'm keeping go upstairs. Earlier I cleaned off these shelves. A lot of the stuff I had on these shelves is going to the yard sale. I'll show you downstairs. Yeah, so this is the stuff that's going to the yard sale. I got some old spray guns, these mini dollies. Oh, I have some cool stuff too though. We had some Victorian hardware cast, and these are the molds. That's what a mold looks like. And here's the piece that came out of that mold. I'm actually doing it backwards, but there it goes. When we received them out of the mold, they look like this. And then we polish them up. Another example of this stamped hardware from Golden Oak pieces. Boy, glass knobs. There's going to be a lot of this stuff in the sale. Someone sent this to me years ago. A whole bunch of brass ferrules. I think I used 4 of them. And that's not all the drawers, but it's most of them. Okay, this is a tough one. What stains do I want to keep, and finishes? Okay, I think I'm pretty much got what I want out of this one. I kept a few oil stains and some odds and ends. I sure hope that somebody wants to buy these gallons. All right, now this guy. It's so difficult to decide what to keep, and I'm not going to keep much, especially things like gallon jugs of dye stains. I think if I need these in the future, I'll buy much smaller containers. I might as well get rid of these now. So pretty much out of these 2 yellow cabinets, I'm basically keeping what's on this top shelves. Although there are some dye stains I'm keeping that aren't here yet. Everything down here is going to be for sale. Everything in that cabinet is for sale. This big box is actually two layers deep of quart cans, glazes, and colorants of all sorts. Wow, we're getting there. Tomorrow's the yard sale. It's a little rainy right now. This afternoon we'll start setting stuff up outside too, getting ready. So many things. So difficult to price this stuff out. Most used stuff, we're just going to sell it for $1. But then we have new stuff. Table saw hold down. A folding framing square. I never used it. A drill. Works perfectly fine, but I no longer have batteries for it. I have a new drill. All this veneer. Tons of veneer. All these old spindles. Good stuff if you could use it. I've had this stuff for years. I've used a few pieces here and there. So how many times have people said, you can't have too many clamps? Well, I do have too many clamps. Here's your chance to have too many clamps. These are great. What do you think? $5 a piece? Something like that? Trust me, I'll still have plenty of clamps. Now, all we needed was a little promotion. If you've watched my videos lately, you know that we're renovating the entire shop. And I've got a lot of new tools that are my daughter's. And this could be your chance for some new tools for your shop too. This Saturday, May 3rd, 8 a.m., we're having a big yard sale, a shop yard sale, selling a lot of my old tools, a lot of different things. Rain or shine, Saturday, May 3rd. Thomas Johnson Antique Furniture Restoration in Gorham, Maine. I'm selling a lot of stains, some sandpaper, dye stains, oil colors, universal colors, glazes, pipe clamps, excess hand tools like screwdrivers, pliers and stuff. Also veneers and a lot of hardware. Handles, poles, some antique, some new, wooden knobs, chair spindles, all kinds of stuff we're pulling out. So I'll see you on Saturday, May 3rd, 8 a.m., rain or shine. And no early birds. Got that, Buffy? Okay, 20,000 views. I guess we can expect about a dozen people tomorrow. It was a great day, a bit of a blur. The rain held off, and you could hear the talking and clatter of rummaging all morning. We had so many people online comment that they wish they could be here. Well, my neighbor was kind enough to shoot some footage from a shopper's point of view.
Yeah, give me 20 years and get the lathe together. I'll learn how to turn them. Turn one for you. The compressor. Is that rotten full bear and stuff? And it's not a hard thing. Oh, and what's so frustrating, you'll find everything is almost. Yeah, there was
At At the end of the day, I was over $10 richer. But the important thing was that the shop was cleared, ready for a transformation. Before I show you the newly renovated shop, I'd like you to see my last shop tour so you can really see the changes that have been made. If you can't wait, that's fine. Skip ahead to the next chapter and take a look. I'm Tom Johnson, Thomas Johnson Antique Furniture Restoration in Gorham, Maine. I'm currently working on a big piece of furniture that will be a long video, but it's not ready for today. You know, a lot of fans over the years have asked for a shop tour, and today's the day. You know, Jane and I have been here in Maine for 10 years, and prior to that, we were in Newton, Massachusetts. We had a shop there for 30 years. And I should also say that at our shop in Newton, we also had a shop dog, a Cocker Spaniel named Libby. I started doing this when I was 13 years old in my dad's shop. He was also a professional restorer, built furniture, and my oldest brother Bob ran that same business until last year. It was there for 70 years. My younger brother Greg has a shop in Avon, New York, and my daughter Emily is a woodworker in Portland, Oregon. Our house here in Gorham is an old house. It was built in 1771. That's prior to the Revolution. This building we're in now, this was an attached shed to this house. It was probably original to the house, but it's been greatly altered now to create this shop. Our barn is reported to be the oldest barn in the county, probably 200 years old. That's kind of hard to tell. So here we have the lathe. It's kind of pushed over. It's not used often. In fact, I haven't made a video, I haven't needed to make a turning for quite a while, but these kind of things come and go, then three of them will come along. Got all my turning tools, the lathe. This lathe I bought used in 1980. It's probably made in the 50s or early 60s, something like that, but it still works great. All right, just moving through the shop here. And here I have a bunch of scrap wood of various types, somewhat organized, but not really. Blankets and pads for protecting furniture. Scrap newspaper for when we need it. Not long ago we started putting up these shelves along the top of the shop where I'm marking things with boxes where they can easily be seen, and enabling me to get rid of some cabinets that were on the floor. At the center of every shop is your table saw. This is a 10-inch Powermatic saw. I bought it new in 1979. I'd say virtually every piece of wood used in the shop starts off on the table saw, either for the rough cutting or even for the really fine, delicate cuts that you sometimes need. And then I have a Powermatic 6-inch joiner. I always kind of wish I'd bought the 8-inch, but you know, you make do. And the joiner is primarily used to create a square edge to the face of a board. And this is my thickness planer, a Parks thickness planer, and it is also a very old machine. It's hard to know. I've never tried to identify from the serial number when it was made, but it's probably from the 50s. And a thickness planer is designed to make one face of a board parallel to the other. And it allows you to dimension a board. Say you wanted to go from 1 inch to 7/8 of an inch. Here we have our sanders and sandpaper. I like using pneumatic sanders, and of course they're never used on antiques, so you may have never seen me use them in my videos. Here is my drill and all the various and different types of drill bits, also other various tools. And then these are all big variety of files and rasps. This is an important part of the shop right here. This is my work sharpener along with the grinder. These tools, along with your oil stones and stuff, are what's really important to keep your tools sharp. This cabinet just holds a big variety of things. Staplers, more drilling equipment, My corded drills are in here, and then more equipment for the drill press. This library cabinet obviously can hold a lot of different things. It's never been that great, and in fact that's one of the reasons for all the boxes up top. I'm taking stuff out of these drawers and getting them into boxes up top. These chisels and carving tools we call shop chisels. They're not as precious as your good chisels. And here you can see I've got all these little drawers filled with screws and nails. I don't think I've ever bought less than 100 screws at a time, and we keep them all. I always have the size I need when I need it. And here are my hand planes. I have a few. I like the number 4. This is a Lee Nielsen plane. If you're ever buying a new plane, that's the one you want to get. But I also really like the number 3 plane. And this is an old plane I bought at a flea market and restored. I even have a video on that. Plane like this, your rabbet plane or shoulder plane, that's also used a lot in the shop. And a block plane, a small plane, that's also used a lot. And the drill press, you've seen me use that in a lot of different videos. Obviously it does what it does, and it's really good for more precision type drilling. In this closet is our compressor, and you've seen me blowing off stuff with the blowgun, and it's also used, of course, for those pneumatic sanders I pointed out. And here are a bunch of bench tools, and these tools are available to whoever's working in the shop. Just all the various stuff, pliers, screwdrivers, hammers, mallets, and a lot of miscellaneous stuff. On this wall I keep customer hardware, in other words hardware from pieces that we're working on. And I've also got projects here. I've got some planes I need to restore. I'm really looking forward to doing this scraper plane and wooden planes. I also have these are my newer scraper planes. And I also have some spoke shaves up there too, rarely used. And then of course here's the clamp wall. And here's all my clamps. And this is an effort to try to keep those organized and handy. And here we have a stationary belt sander and disc sander. I use almost exclusively the belt part, maybe because of the table, but this is invaluable for making minor adjustments to pieces and shaping pieces. This tool is used a lot. And of course here we have band saws. I have 2 band saws. They're both your standard 14-inch band saw. This one's as it sits with a 1/4-inch blade on it, but this one we added a 6-inch block to make it higher, and it has a 3/4-inch blade. And we have 2 benches here in the shop. This is my primary bench that I use. This bench is more for my helpers, or a lot of times I got projects going on both benches. And of course, as you've seen, a lot of times I covered the table saw and used it as a bench also. So let's go down this wall. We have the sink, and that's probably the most used part of the shop for many different things. This is a storage cabinet where we keep our time sheets here. I keep close time on every job. And this cabinet primarily holds brand new unopened products that we use. This cabinet holds a lot of tools. In fact, the top drawer is just all screwdrivers, all the different various screwdrivers, of which there are many that I've collected over the years. Miscellaneous stuff in here. These 2 drawers here hold my own personal tools, and which means that no one else is allowed to use these. And this cabinet just holds power tools. Got my router, belt sander, heat gun. You've seen that many times. You may wonder how I place myself in the shots I take when I'm doing the photography myself. And this is my buddy Waldo right here. He assists me in making my videos, and I don't know what I'd do without him. And this cabinet, this is a safety cabinet, and it primarily holds a lot of the dye stains I use, But I also have a lot of my oil colors and different types of colorants in here also. Colorants that are used with finishes. Now, I need to build a box for my Japanese saws. Right now they're just living up here. My whole life you use English saws, and they're great for what they do until you handle a Japanese saw, much thinner blades. They cut on the pull stroke, which allows you a lot more accuracy. You can make really fine cuts. My new favorite saw is this small leaf-shaped saw that I'm using for veneer. But a lot of these smaller saws I got to cut veneer with. And of course this is a scroll saw. Once again, one of those tools that's not used very often. But when you need it, there's absolutely no substitute for it. This is also a very old machine. I bought it used in the early 80s, and it was very old at that time. Actually, I ran the serial number on this, and it was made in 1963. And then this is another storage cabinet, and it holds all my oil stains, and then a few other odds and ends of chemicals. Okay. These boxes contain a lot of my touch-up materials and also various tools. These are the boxes I put on the truck when I'm traveling. So this corner of the shop, this is a rolling drying rack for when we have a lot of things, just like you see, shelves and doors. This little area here is just my general touch-up area, staining area, anything like that we need to do. It's not exactly dust-free, it's open to the rest of the shop. These are just some utility cabinets I'm brushing some polyurethane on. Here we have a shelf where I keep more finishing supplies. Here I just have my small jars of dye stain for touch-ups, my brushes, various aerosols, generally speaking, all the kind of stuff you need for finishing, mixing cups and things like that. And then this bench, this holds some more materials, and this bench I do my mixing on and various other things. It's a perpetual mess. The nice thing about this, I get a great view from here of the backyard while I'm working. So sandpaper shelves here. We use about 7 different types of sandpaper on almost a daily basis. We have more different types of sandpaper in the storage cabinet. Okay, here we are, back where we started. I always thought that to do a shop tour video would mean days of cleaning up ahead of time. But having just done it, I think the shop looks pretty good. Okay, let's see what the new shop looks like. Right off the bat, you can tell the shop has a whole new vibe. Most noticeable thing, there's no furniture. Now, if you remember from past videos where I've done turning, this area hasn't changed a bit. It's still the same. The lathe will stay here. This area will get all straightened up and redone the next time one of us has to turn something. And this brings up a point that I want to make. The shop isn't like 100% done. It's going to be an ongoing process for a long time. There's a lot of decisions that we can't make until we actually get back to work in here and see how things go and where they belong and any other changes we want to make. All right, let's move on. This area, if you remember, was down here was just filled with scrap wood of all types. I use those a lot. All kinds of blankets and stuff up here. And now it's all been straightened up. All that wood's gone to the fireplace. This is nice and neat now. And drop cloths, blankets, newspapers. This is a little hideout for cats when they visit. And you recall all along the top, the whole perimeter of the shop, I built shelves, all these boxes of all supplies. that's more or less stayed the same too. That will just change slightly. And you know, longtime viewers of my videos have seen me using my Powermatic saw probably in every video. Well, that saw's gone now, and it was a good saw. Could have used a new modern fence system, but there was nothing wrong with the saw. It worked great. But this saw is better, it's safer, it works like a dream. This saw will actually be moved a little bit more to the center of the shop, and we add a crosscut sliding table to this end. And here, Emily's built an outfeed table with the router table built in. Now, here's something I don't show a lot on this channel, primarily because of how noisy it can be, but it's essential nevertheless. That's the vacuum system. I had mine for a number of years, even back in Massachusetts. But now that Emily is here, we were able to put in this new modern system. It's a great improvement. And of course, along with my Powermatic saw, Powermatic joiner, 6-inch joiner, it's staying. It's a great machine. It's small but mighty, gets the job done, and really works well for the vast majority of projects we've got working on here. And I'm sure you remember my old Parks thickness planer. I love that machine. It was very old, almost primitive type machine, but did a lot of hard work with that. But it's gone now, it's gone to a new home. I'm sure it's going to be very happy. And now we have this new thickness planer. I've used it. I would get it out and put it on the bench here, but I can't do it by myself. And there's no one else here right now. But it's a great machine. I've used it, and it's very nice. Now, those of you who remember this wall will realize that it hasn't changed much. This cabinet still contains the pneumatic sanders. This is still our tape cabinet, all the tapes in there. This area had drill bits and stuff along here. They're also on the bench beneath here, and we haven't come up with a new spot for those yet. I'm sure that'll happen soon. My rasps and files are still here for now. They've got to be moved. We're going to open up this window completely. Now this whole wall, the north wall of the shop, from here down, is where you see, a huge, huge change. If you remember, I had a cabinet here filled with all kinds of different tools and stuff. And a lot of those things, if they weren't sold at the yard sale, are now either waiting to be sold or we stored them upstairs in the storage room. Here I had a cabinet with all my finishing supplies. Tons of stuff in here too, more cabinets filled with finishing supplies. Over here, I had a pedestal with the grinding wheel and also my sharpening wheel on there for sharpening, and tons of screws and bolts. Here, I know you remember my library card catalog cabinet. It was filled with all kinds of good stuff. And a lot of that got sold, and a lot of other stuff ended upstairs. So what is this strange looking machine? Well, it's an edge sander, which means that it's a horizontal belt sander. And you can see it's got a pretty good length to it. I've never used one personally, but you can see that, and you can see the sanding marks here. You can take long boards and sand the edge of them very quickly. So my daughter built this purpose-built cabinet along this wall. Its main purpose is to accommodate the chop saw. I've never had a chop saw before. It's just great for making quick cuts, and I really like it. And of course below, there's storage cabinets. I'm sure these cabinets are that's gonna come out, and shelves put in, and more equipment. We get to this wall. The thought being that this area might become the sharpening station. And that brings us to this wall. I know everybody remembers this wall. This is the famous clamp wall. Yeah, you can't even tell anymore, can you? Now, this is a general work area, shelves. It's just a back bench for a work area. Maybe there'll be another shelf, I'm not sure. Just general tools and materials up there. And of course, this cabinet's going to have drawers, yet to be built. And introducing the new clamp wall. I think you can tell that this is not my doing. It's actually pretty much close to a 50-50 mix of Emily's clamps and my clamps. And I think there's plenty, even for two people. I think it's easy for everyone to remember these machines. I've done so many different video clips with them. The stationary belt sander, I use a lot for shaping things. And then I think, well, this is a bandsaw with a 3/4 inch blade and a riser block, so it's higher, has more depth. Most of in my videos, you've probably seen me using this standard size saw with a 1/4 inch blade. The present thinking is that these machines will end up more towards the middle of the shop, making this area a little more accessible. We won't really know until we get the final placement of the table saw. Oh, and you can't forget the kitchen. That's been in so many clips. Obviously, it has not changed. We're going to give it a complete makeover. You'll remember from last time, this cabinet held a lot of our unopened products. And we got rid of a bunch of stuff. There's still things in here. I think we can continue to get rid of stuff here. And I'm going to talk to this as we go down the wall, but with that cabinet down there, the yellow one, we may eventually be able to combine this into that cabinet, our goal being to end up with just one cabinet. Okay, and you remember this wall. This is may not even have realized there was a door there at the time. But I had these two cabinets. These are old file cabinet type things, office stuff. And this is where I kept my tools. I had a wooden cabinet here, 3 drawers, contained all kinds of tools, stuff on top. Right here was a gray cabinet, which held all my power tools. And those have all ended up in one of the new cabinets on the other side of the shop. And here was the tall yellow cabinet, and then of course the saw and the other cabinet. That tall cabinet is gone. So what's going to happen here? Well, we're going to keep this area clear. We want to be able to open this door. I'm going to have to remove the shelves before we can do that. But it's going to be amazing. But what about my tools that were all here? Well, using these cabinets, I'm going to build a rolling toolbox for myself. And in fact, that's going to be my next video. This place will be cleared. I will be portable. You know, we never shot much video in the office. But of course, there was always somebody using the computer. But now, my desk, Jane's desk is gone. They're in other parts of the house. This room has become Emily's clean room, where she will handle the artwork and do actual framing. There's a glass cutter and this big work table. And of course, temporarily, Emily's got a bunk with the little chicks. Here we are, a whole new shop. I can hear my voice echoing. It's great. All ready for whatever lies ahead. It's going to take a year to do all the details that we have yet to get to. Em's got work to do. I've got furniture to restore and make videos. I'm looking forward to it. If you like this video, like and share. I'd really appreciate it. I gotta say, it looks pretty good, and I feel pretty good. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good.